Hey Leap Inspire family. Get ready to be swept away by a story that'll tug at your heartstrings and keep you hooked till the very last second. Imagine a glittering chandelier crashing down, a father's world hanging by a thread, and a woman with a mysterious past throwing herself into danger to save a child. Will her courage ignite something deeper in a man who claims he has no heart? Or will secrets and shadows tear them apart? Stick with us, because this roller coaster of sacrifice, desire, and hidden truths will leave you breathless. Don't miss a single moment. The Malhotra mansion's grand hall shimmered under the glow of its massive crystal chandelier, a symbol of Rudra Malhotra's wealth and control. Its prisms danced across the marble floors, casting fleeting rainbows that belied the storm about to erupt. A sharp creak shattered the evening's calm, and Rudra's heart stopped as he turned, his eyes locking onto the chandelier plummeting toward his 6-year-old son, Arav. The boy stood frozen, his small frame dwarfed by the glittering menace, unaware of the danger. Time slowed, each second a lifetime, as Rudra's legs refused to move. But then, like a bolt of lightning, Ana darted forward, her body a blur of motion. She yanked Arav into her arms, curling herself around him as the chandelier crashed, glass exploding across the floor like 1,000 tiny daggers. Not a single shard touched the boy. Rudra's breath caught, his pulse a deafening roar, as he rushed to them, pulling Arav from her embrace. His hands frantically checked his son, head, arms, legs, finding no scratches, no blood. Relief crashed over him like a tidal wave, drowning the terror that had gripped him. Had Arav been hurt, Rudra's carefully constructed world would have shattered. He clutched his son tightly, whispering assurances, but a piercing scream cut through his relief. His gaze snapped to Ana, crumpled amid the wreckage, her face contorted in pain as blood seeped from a deep gash on her arm. Shards of glass glinted around her, a cruel reminder of her sacrifice. "She needs help, sir! It's deep!" Kiera, the housekeeper, shouted, already kneeling beside Ana, her hands pressing a cloth to the wound. Rudra dropped to Ana's side, his fingers trembling as he tore off his handkerchief and tied it tightly around the gash. Her cries were raw, grating against his nerves, each one a needle in his composure. "Quiet," he snapped, but the sharpness in his voice masked something else, guilt, perhaps, or a feeling he refused to name. He ordered her to stand, his tone harsh, but she couldn't, her legs buckling under the pain. A flicker of suspicion crossed his mind. Was she exaggerating to gain sympathy? His mother's voice broke through, commanding the guards to take Ana to the hospital, but a possessive fire roared to life within Rudra. No one would touch her, not in his house, not while she was his. His what? The question gnawed at him as he lifted her into his arms, her body light but heavy with meaning. Her hands clutched his shirt, her grip desperate, as if he were her anchor in the storm of pain. Her soft whimpers, barely stifled, echoed in his ears as he carried her to the car. "Drive faster!" He barked at the driver, his frustration a thin veil over the turmoil beneath. Ana had saved his son, and the image of what could have happened without her, a broken body, a lifeless Arav, haunted him, a shadow he couldn't outrun. At the hospital, Rudra stormed through the doors, Ana still cradled in his arms, her weight a strange comfort against his chest. The sterile scent of antiseptic and the bustle of nurses did little to calm the storm within him. The doctor's verdict, stitches, rest, observation, made Ana's eyes widen with a vulnerable, almost childlike fear. Rudra's heart skipped, a betrayal he couldn't afford. Impossible. Rudra Malhotra had no heart, not since the world had carved it out years ago. Yet, as the needle pierced her skin, her nails dug into his arm, leaving scratches that grounded him. The pain was a reminder. She saved Arav. That was all this was. Still, His eyes betrayed him, scanning her for injuries she hadn't noticed. A scraped elbow, a bruise blooming on her wrist, a faint cut on her hand. He demanded the doctor treat every mark, his voice colder than intended, as if distance could shield him from the warmth creeping into his chest. When offered a wheelchair, he refused, his arms tightening around her. No one else would carry her. Back in the car, her gaze met his, soft and searching, but he kept his eyes forward, afraid of what she might see, disarmed, vulnerable, human. This wasn't care, it was duty. She had saved his son, and Rudra Malhotra paid his debts. But when he glanced at her again, her tear-streaked face, her red nose from crying, stirred something dangerous. His hand moved before he could stop it, brushing strands of hair behind her ear, the gesture too gentle, too intimate. The urge to pull her close, to comfort her, was overwhelming, but her averted gaze snapped him back to reality. He jerked away, banging his head against the car door, cursing himself for the slip. This was transactional, nothing more. Yet, her act of bravery lingered, proving one thing: whatever her past, whatever secrets she carried, she wouldn't harm her of. No one would risk their life like that without love. But love was fleeting, unreliable. If she planned to leave one day, as everyone did, what was the point? That night, Rudra couldn't find peace. Anna's pain-filled cries echoed in his mind, her whimpers a relentless ghost. He tried to drown them out, showering, pacing, staring at the ceiling, but the restlessness grew, a beast clawing at his insides. Finally, he gave in, slipping through the hidden door connecting their rooms, a secret passage she didn't know existed and he wasn't ready to reveal. The door creaked softly as he entered, the dim moonlight casting shadows across her sleeping form. She lay half-covered by the duvet, her face serene, her chest rising and falling with steady breaths. He approached silently, adjusting the blanket over her, his fingers lingering longer than necessary. Pulling a chair beside her bed, he sat, his eyes trained on her face. Her calm quieted the storm within him, her breathing a rhythm that soothed his jagged edges. For the first time in years, a faint smile curved his lips, unbidden and unfamiliar. But the peace shattered when Ana stirred, a pained groan escaping her lips. Her brow furrowed, tears slipping from her closed eyes. "Blood," she muttered, trapped in a nightmare. "Mom, Dad, don't go." Her voice cracked raw with loss. Rudra froze, his hand hovering over hers. Her pain was a mirror, reflecting memories he'd buried deep. "Don't leave me," she whispered, her breathing erratic, her fist clenched. He hesitated, then placed his hand over hers, his other gently stroking her forehead. The tension in her face eased, her breath slowing. "Shh," he murmured, wiping the sweat from her skin. Why was he doing this? He didn't care, he wasn't supposed to. Yet, when he tried to pull away, her grip tightened, her fingers locking around his. He couldn't wake her, so he sank to the floor, her hand in his head resting against the bed. Sleep claimed him, a rare moment of peace in a life defined by control. At 6 a.m., Rudra awoke, her grasp loosened. He slipped back to his room, the gym his refuge, as he tried to burn off the emotions he refused to name. Ana was dangerous, a threat to the walls he'd built, the routine he'd perfected. At the office, his cabin felt hollow without her quiet presence, her scent, her energy. He scoffed at himself, ridiculous. It was her coffee he missed, that bitter brew that had become his morning ritual, not her. Work buried his thoughts, but by 4 p.m., the need to see her overwhelmed him. At home, he found his son in Anna's room, holding a drawing. "It's complete," Arav said, his eyes bright. "The chair was empty because I didn't have a mama, but now I have you." Rudra's heart twisted, a pang of something he couldn't name. Arav saw a mother in her, But Rudra couldn't allow that fantasy. "She's not our family, Arav. She's just a maid," he said, his voice sharper than intended. Arav's face fell, his lip trembling. "You made my Bambi sad. You're bad?" Rudra froze. "Bambi? Why do you call her that?" he demanded, his chest tightening. "Because she's my favorite, like Bambi in the cartoon," Arav replied, his logic pure and unshakable. The name stirred memories Rudra had buried, a past he refused to revisit. As Ana and Arav played, her laughter filled the room, a melody so pure it captivated him. She never smiled like that for him, and the realization stung. He watched, lost in her joy, until she sensed his gaze and looked away, her smile fading. Sunday brought Arav's request for a day out. Rudra, swamped with work and guilt over neglecting his son, couldn't refuse. Arav, who had topped his class and been unwell, deserved this. At the picnic spot, Arav insisted Ana join them. Rudra resisted. Family time was sacred, but Arav's tears were his weakness. Ana appeared in a floral frock, her hair in a tight bun. Rudra preferred it down, the way it framed her face, and without thinking, he reached out, releasing her hair. She flinched, expecting a slap, and he let her fear linger, placing the hairpin on the table. In the car, Arav demanded she sit in front, her presence a distraction Rudra could barely ignore. At the picnic, he seized a moment to undo her bun again, their faces inches apart, her breath catching. "Perfect," he murmured, his eyes lingering on her lips, soft and pink in the sunlight. Arav's call broke the tension, and Rudra tucked the hairpin away, determined to keep her hair down. They ate sandwiches, played games, and when Arav won a race, because Rudra let him. He demanded Ana kiss Rudra as a reward. Her hesitation amused him. He craved her nearness, even if she resisted. Pushed against a tree, hidden from her sight, Rudra kissed her, his desire unleashed. She froze, her lips unmoving, then responded, shy and uncertain. Her taste, strawberries, and something uniquely her, drove him wild. He wanted more, but Arav's voice shattered the moment. "Did you give Daddy his reward?" the boy asked. "Yes," Rudra smirked, "with extra incentives." Anna's cheeks flushed, and she turned away, her silence louder than words. Back at the office, Anna's wound had healed, but Rudra kept her close, doing nothing but sitting in his cabin like a statue. He told himself it was to keep her from Arav, to prevent his son's attachment, but the truth was murkier. One evening, past regular hours, the lights went out, plunging the cabin into darkness. Anna's breathing grew shallow, her claustrophobia surfacing. "Sir," she called, her voice trembling. Rudra, torch in hand, found her cowering, mistaking him for a ghost. Her scream startled him, but her fear was real, her eyes wide with panic. Realizing they were locked in, he tried to calm her, pulling her into his arms. Her body fit perfectly against his, her ear pressed to his racing heart. "Breathe," he whispered, and she did, her panic easing under his touch. They searched for keys, her torchlight steadying her fear. The keys didn't work, and they slumped against the door, her hand finding his, their fingers intertwining. Their stomachs growled, and Rudra suggested a game, half sarcastically, to distract her. Anna's question about an emergency exit led them to a locked gate, which Rudra broke open with sheer force. In the cubicle area, they found a decorated desk with a love note for Natasha, a birthday proposal from Ronak. Ana defended the gesture, her words, "You've never loved any girl," striking a nerve Rudra didn't know he had. He relented, leaving the bouquet intact, though it irritated him to see romance in his office. In the kitchen, Ana found instant noodles, her eyes lighting up. Rudra's attempt to add Nutella sparked a playful tug-of-war, the bottle slipping and splattering her neck. He smirked, stepping closer, and licked the Nutella off her skin, savoring her shudder. Pinning her against the wall, he kissed her, his desire reigniting. She resisted, but her body betrayed her, tilting into his touch. The noodles burned, the coffee spilled, and they shared the remaining half-mug, her drinking from his spot a small victory. A shuffling noise startled them. A thief, Ana thought, her face paling. Rudra hid her behind a cupboard, grabbing a knife, and confronted the intruder, only to discover it was the guard, sent to unlock the cabin. Ana's pan-swinging bravery surprised him, her kick knocking the guard down. "It's me, sir!" the guard stammered, explaining his wife's childbirth had rushed him. Rudra dismissed him, but Ana apologized, her empathy a stark contrast to his coldness. Outside, hunger drove them to a street food stall selling Indian burgers. Ana's delight in her burger captivated Rudra, her moan of pleasure drawing his gaze. But two men approached, their intentions dark. "Where are you going?" one leered, grabbing her hand. Ana struggled, her voice firm but shaking. Rudra intervened, his fists relentless, rage blinding him. Ana's pleas stopped him before he went too far. Misunderstanding her fear, he ordered her into the car, his voice terrifying. Panicked, Ana ran, her exhaustion slowing her. Rudra caught up, his presence overwhelming. "Wrong move, kitten," he said, his voice cold, her heart pounding. Was this safety or a new danger? To be continued, type Episode 5. In the comments, leap Inspire family, and subscribe to catch the next chapter of this gripping saga.